So this is Louis, and I'm currently out in the middle of nowhere, parked alongside a rural highway, which is a two-lane road that people drive, 65 miles an hour on, although it's 55. Everyone drives faster. Well, not everyone. One of the things I've experienced in my time in small towns and rural parts of New York State is that some people drive 65, I drive 65, some people drive 50 in a 55. And goddamn them to hell, as Alex Jones would say. I can't stand slow drivers.
Goddamn them to hell.
But I'm not here to talk about me being out here. I'm here to talk about the Outer Worlds. So I've been trying to do my due diligence in trying to finish this game because I want to review it. I want to do a laser review, but it's still my official review. I want to review it because it really is a mixed bag of a game, but I don't know if any of it actually qualifies as good. The best elements that I can give to it are maybe the atmosphere and sort of the ambience. Like, that may be the best element of it, like some of the music. I don't know if anything else. The gunplay is competent at best. It's nothing really special. The modding and the crafting in the game is minimal, which I appreciate. So maybe that would be a plus for the game. But there's not really much to talk about with this game in particular, outside of the elements that are incredibly bad. And there are elements to this game that are incredibly bad. And one of those elements are what I'm going to be talking about right now, today. And it's going to be basically an anecdote of my experience with this game. I'm pretty far into the game now. I'm on Monarch, which I believe to be the last planet. I don't know that to be, for a fact. But I believe it is the last planet. It's also the biggest map in the game, which I'm not sure how big it is just yet, but I do know it's the biggest one as far as the planets that you can go to, and there's not really many. I pretty much wrapped up Byzantium. Not very interesting. Probably the nicest looking planet, arguably, but I mean, it's straight up a ripoff of BioShock. It's really, really noticeable how much this game aesthetically borrows from BioShock, and it's one of the things that I've criticized about games for a while, that if you have to borrow from existing properties, you're not really innovating. Like, there's a very low chance you're going to do anything really original in your game when from the beginning, from the get-go, you're ripping off other games. But they're taking from a property that I like, so is it really a net negative for the game? No. Somebody, when I did my previous commentary on this game, they criticized, wait till you get to Byzantium. That's the beauty you're talking about, and no, it's not. It's not. There's flashes of it, of basically high society, which is what I was asking for in this game, but it's not. It's just sort of like an empty, self-referential decadence. The easiest example of that is when you go to this mission called Early Retirement, and you go to this section, which is a straight rip from New Vegas. It's the same thing. It's the same plot line, the same outcome, the same thing. It's literally the same as the one vault you go to. So good job there, Obsidian. You had 5 years, and you couldn't help but rip off one of your own games. Wow. So yeah, the writing in this game is not good. It is just not good. The game is so unbelievably self-referential that it is the worst aspect of the game, in my view. Out of anything else, the self-referential material is the worst aspect of this game. It makes me, angry playing it. But even that, it's not what angers me to the degree that I did this video. I'm just playing the game. I'm trying to finish it. I'm enjoying small aspects of it, but it's one of those kind of games. It really is like Dragon Age Inquisition. I am struggling to finish it. It's not fun enough to warrant my playing of it, really. Like, it's not like I just bought Red Dead Redemption 2 for PC. I'm glad I bought it. I am glad I bought it. I have already played it on, PlayStation 4. And also online for Red Dead is having some graphical problems at the moment. I'm not really sure if that is on my end. I can't. I've tried to look into the graphics. I can't figure it out if that is something I can change. But graphically, Red Dead 2 on PC is having some serious problems at the moment. But outside of that, I'm enjoying playing it. Whether it's the main campaign, minus the aspects that are just propaganda, and Red Dead Online. As boring as it can be, I don't mind it because it's closer to an RPG than, the Outer Worlds, in my view. In my view, the Outer Worlds is a failed RPG. It fails to live up to what it's supposed to be. Red Dead 2 Online is more of an RPG. And your character doesn't even speak. What is it? What's the catalyst for this video, you might ask? Well, that was an anecdote, an experience I had in the game, where you go to Groundbreaker, and you have your one companion, Pravati, Holcomb. She meets with, she's not the captain of the ship. She's like the chief engineer and yet somehow in charge. It's like, okay. She has a crush on her. And it's, again, cringy. Oh, I'm so awkward. Oh, it's 2005. Isn't this meta fucking joke funny? It's lame. It's stupid. As someone that has a fetish for Yuri, you make me hate this. That's just how you know you're going wrong. But what it is Tumblr spurg bullshit. And when I went into it, I didn't realize that. And I saw people talking about the story quest for her, which is, this relationship between her and this engineer. I do the mission where I speak to her and I help the engineer out with the heat problem they're having on the Groundbreaker. So you fix that in this small little subsection, which when I got down to, I was thinking oh, this is going to be like BioShock, it's an underworld, and it is like that, but it's very, very small, like all the maps in the game. So I was yet again disappointed by that. Wow. And people complained about Dragon Age 2, And yet, here we are with even smaller maps. It's seemingly only I care. But no, it's all right. But with Pravati, spoke to her after I was pretty much done with Byzantium. I'm like, all right, let's finish up this storyline. So I speak to her, and she starts talking about, how the engineer on the Groundbreaker sent her a poem. And I was like, okay. And she's like, well, it wasn't very good, and, but it was cute, and blah, blah, blah. And she goes, well, I'm interested in her, and I like her, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, come on, let's go. And one of the options are, just get to the point. And that was my position. It's like, all right, Pavati, I don't fucking care about your stupid romance with this engineer that's cringy and forced and is in no way romantic. This is ironic. Irony does not give you genuine romance. Irony is simply irony. It's self-referential and for the sake of cringy Twitter humor. So let's get this over with. What do you want to do? What's next? Rather than get into that, she starts talking about herself. And she starts talking about how she's interested in her as a girl, but one of the problems she's going to run into, and she has run into, is that she's not interested in physical relationships. And as soon as she said that, I was like, wow, people were right. This is Tumblrite bullshit. And people were saying that this is like a self-insert for the writer, that this is what the writer is, herself. Like an asexual lesbian. And the minute it popped into my brain that it was like, is this a self-reference to not only the game and the sake of this fucking ridiculous Tumblrite bullshit, forced diversity in the game, but also the writer herself? I was like, I'm done. I'm done. Get the fuck off my ship. You're done. You're gone. I don't give a fuck. I couldn't even get the armor off her. I was like, fuck it. I don't even care. You keep the fucking armor. Get off the ship. Because the next option you get after she talks about how she's asexual. By the way, as it relates to asexuality, the concept of that, just straight from Tumblr, and it's only females that are asexual. I've only ever seen it said that females are asexual. No other person. I've never seen a guy. Forget it. I'm not even going to say what I was going to say. But when it comes to asexuality, you're either a female incel, you're a liar, or you are mentally ill, or all of the above, you know? And just go away, please. If anyone's going to be chemically castrated, or what's it called? Sterilized. If anyone's going to be sterilized, it's going to be them. It's going to be the asexuals. Because that is a sign of mental deficiency that we need to rout in this society. So when it came to this bitch on my fucking ship talking about her Tumblr-right bullshit, people are like, oh, this is so superior to Fallout 4. This is so better than Fallout 4. You get 4 options. All 4 agree with her. All 4 options affirm her asexuality. All 4 are the same. And this is what I'm talking about. This is not a good game. People rant and rave about Fallout 4. This is not better than Fallout 4. If you think so, you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Are you playing the same fucking game that I am here? Where you have 4 options that are the fucking same, all affirming her fucking gender ideology. What the fuck? At least with Fallout 4, it didn't have this shit. Did it have some cringy stuff here and there? Like just, you know, little moments? Yeah. It had some stupid stuff, but for the most part, it's just, here's a very big world that's very shallow. In some ways, it's like Skyrim. But at least it's more neutral than this game is with all of the fucking forced diverse bullshit that is in this game. It is so unbelievably bad in this game. It is so irritating. It ruins the fucking game. It's one of the worst aspects of the fucking game. The irony in the self-referential dialogue and writing, that is the fucking worst. But this is next to it. The fucking SJW nonsense in this game. That is all throughout it. It's constant. It's so irritating. So when she said that, I finished the conversation and I said, you're done. You're gone. You're gone. Get off my fucking ship. Get off. And she goes, oh, really? Why? No, I can't believe it. I'm like, no, I don't give a shit. Get the fuck out of here. You're done. And I literally sat there in my chair when she was questioning me, like, Captain, I can't believe it. You want me to go? And I'm like, yes, get the fuck off my ship. You're done. You're done. We're fucking done here. Get off the ship. Because it had irritated me so much. And it's like, yo, this is exactly like Dragon Age Inquisition. This is exactly the same. This is on the same fucking level. The only difference is that in Dragon Age Inquisition, it has more things going for it. It has more fucking positives that I can point to. The maps are very beautiful. The aesthetics outside of characters are very beautiful. It's a very colorful game. It works in terms of the aesthetic. It doesn't, rape the lore entirely, unlike Mass Effect Andromeda. There are aspects to Dragon Age Inquisition that are positive. But in this game, I'm struggling. I am struggling to find the redeeming qualities for this game that are objectively good. Things that I can actively talk to you about that aren't subjective to me, like minimal crafting. That's one of my personal preferences. I don't like complex crafting in games. I find it to be irritating and unnecessary. And if it gets too complicated, I'll just bypass it completely. I'll just buy everything. I won't deal with the fucking bullshit crafting system. It's just amazing to me that even in Inquisition, the only companion character I have ever dismissed in that game that I can recall, I'd have to think about it more, the only one was Cole. And even his character in the book, he was in a book that I think David Gettr wrote. I don't remember who wrote it. But he was in a book, and his character wasn't annoying in the book. It was just his character was his character, like a spooky quasi-ghost human spirit, But his character in the game was just irritating. I found it to be like a fan wank character for pudgy, introverted girls. That's how I took the character. It was a damaged character that, pudgy, introverted nerd girls would find appealing to mommy. And that kind of character irritates me. Weakness irritates me. I don't find it to be something I enjoy listening to. And so I dismissed that character. I said, you know what, you're done. You're gone. You irritate me. I don't want to listen to you. I don't do your stupid missions. He's more irritating to me than Sarah. And Sarah might be the most irritating character in the game. And the biggest forced diversity push. Maybe. I'd have to think about that one. Maybe not in Dragon Age Inquisition. But nonetheless, I kept Sarah because she's a good rogue. Her character is useful in the battlefield. But outside of that is otherwise irritating. However, I've never had that reaction to a companion character that I found irritating before. I have never really found the need to reject and dismiss a character so that I never see them again. And in this particular game, I found it to be necessary. The minute that you include Tumblrite bullshit in your failed RPG, and on top of that, you give me no ability to dismiss the character's nature. All 4 options you're given affirm her bullshit mental illness. When that is your game, I'm not dealing with your bullshit self-insert, self-referential Tumblrite character. I'm not dealing with it. They're gone. They're done. It's over with. Bye-bye propaganda character. Goodbye. Because that's all it is. If it isn't just self-insert for the author, which it may just be, that may be it. But even if it isn't, goodbye, propaganda character. Not talking to you. One of the things I'm also going to include in this is the fact that, to me, this is just another sure sign that we're heading into the Clown World decade where you have this unbelievably cringy character that no one is referencing. No one is referencing this character. I've not seen anyone talk about how this character is, an unbelievable Tumblrite fucking fantasy character. For some 30-something likely, 20-something, definitely a millennial wrote this character. But she is mentally ill. She is a mental defective. She is a deviant to the norm. And she should not be who you want to be. It's not a character that inspires anyone. And if you're going to have those kind of characters, they should be strong. That's my distinction here. No one wants to be Max Payne, but no one thinks that Max Payne is weak. Even if he can't get over what he's lost in his family, no one sees him as weak because he is, in fact, brutally strong. Despite the numbers, despite the odds, despite everything, Max Payne is an unstoppable force. And that is what makes him an interesting character. That's why I like his character. That's why I like his games. Despite everyone going, "Ugh, Max Payne 3 was so bad." The story wasn't very good, I'll give you that. But there were definitely redeeming qualities of that game. Gameplay-wise, I thought it was strong despite people's weird complaints. The music was very strong. The graphics and the atmosphere, despite people's weird complaints about that, I thought those were very strong too. In my view, Max Payne 3 is a good game. It's not a bad game. It has a lot going for it. It's just, story-wise, it's a little bit weak. It's not noir, and I think that for the people that started with Max Payne 2, that was their main complaint. But to me, there's a big difference between a game that achieves what it sets out to be and then a game that fails to live up to what it should be. And clearly, with The Outer Worlds, it's that. You're not an RPG when you give me 4 options that are all the same. That's not humorous, that's not funny, that's not ironic. It's just a joke. And your game is a joke. And the fact that no one sees this, the fact that I'm one of the few people, there are others definitely calling this game out for what it is. There's not many. A lot of people have referenced this game to be like their game of the fucking year. And it's like, what is that, a joke? Is that a joke on your part that this game is your game of the year? But the fact is that for many people it might be because of the state of Western gaming. It being so bad, it's just like, wow. This to you is what a good game is. When it is in fact a failed RPG with smaller maps than what were found in Dragon Age 2. No one wants to point that out. That the maps in this game are incredibly small. And that there's not a lot of gameplay as it relates to gunplay in that. You know, even in the case that you have an open world and you have a lot of the same enemies, okay, create more factions. They don't necessarily have to do anything different than take cover and shoot, but you can always create more factions. There could be multiple factions of marauders or outcasts or outlaws. You can create multiple factions, just like in Red Dead 2. Are the factions really varied all that much? No, but they came up with so many groups, and they are very, very politically correct groups, I might add. But at least they're there. Maybe that's a detriment to the game, but it's even worse in the Outer Worlds. And this is supposed to be an RPG. It is also shallow. It's not very big, such as with Dragon Age Inquisition. You know, wide as a lake, shallow as a puddle, whatever the saying is. You could say that about Fallout 4 as well. But Fallout 4 had more factions, I believe, of like outlaws and, you know, random enemies than this game. It's so strangely small in terms of what it encompasses. And it's an entire solar system. And yet it feels so small. And not in a good way. Like, I would even defend with Dragon Age 2. Dragon Age 2 was very localized and small, but you were integral to the story. Your character, as the acts went on, became more integral to the setting and the story overall. You know, you went from being nobody to basically becoming a nobleman, and everyone knew who you were by the end. And while the game definitely, you could argue, was just bad, at least story-wise, narratively, it had something going for it. It tried something different to Dragon Age Origins, and a lot of people rejected it, but it was still different, and I think it worked a hell of a lot better than it is in the Outer Worlds. Because I think in this game, it fell on its face. I don't even know what it was trying to do with its narrative, other than self-referential bullshit. The same joke over and over and over and over, and it wasn't funny in the fucking first place. I never laughed the first time, and yet you're making the same joke over and over again. It's not funny. If no one takes this setting seriously, and I especially don't, even as the character, I don't, then why would I, as the player, take it seriously? Why would I care about anything that's going on? That was the mistake you made 5 seconds into the game, and just repeat. You beat the dead horse of over and over again. It's the same fucking joke, and it was never funny. Am I going to say that this is a bad game yet? No. Not yet, anyway. It might come to it in my review, where I actually lay it out. But I'm not there yet, but damn, dude, am I heading on the way to that point where I say that this is straight up just a bad game. That there's so little redeeming about it that it's just straight up a bad game. The narrative and the dialogue, those two, they may be the worst aspect of the game overall. And in an RPG, in a narrative game, essentially, wow, great job, guys. You fucked up the one aspect that you needed to work. Way to fucking go, guys. So yeah, Obsidian to me is dead. I mean, I never really cared about what they were doing in the first place. I wasn't in any way a fan. New Vegas is New Vegas, that's fine. But there was a decent amount of bullshit in that game that, like, when your game has no mods and it continues to crash, you know, I'm not going to ever really be a fan of your company when you can't even get your game to fucking run. So, while I think New Vegas was a definite and objectively good game, that had some aspects to it that were a problem, there's nothing that I can find in the Outer Worlds that makes it so redeeming that I could ever classify it as a good game. I mean, I gotta be nearly done with it. I gotta be approaching the conclusion. And I'm struggling to find aspects of it that I even enjoy at all. Like, this is like Dragon Age Inquisition, where I'm struggling to finish the fucking thing. Like, I'm finding my mind wandering when I'm, not playing the game. I'm thinking to myself, well, what else can I play? Let me look up. Hey, didn't that expansion to Persona 5 come out? And it's like, it's out of Japan, and people are reviewing it kind of poorly. Oh, that's weird. And I'm like, well, it's not even coming out for, to North America to God knows when, and who knows what they're going to censor in it. I'm finding myself wondering about other games when I should be wanting to play more of your game. That should be my drive. I should want to play more of your game. And when I find myself looking at other games, that's when you know you failed as a company at producing something worth a shit. So I'm going to try to finish it. I'm going to do my best. It's only like a 20-hour long game. I'm going to do my best to finish it, and then I'm going to do the review. And I know that I've spoken about it already quite a bit. 2 videos on one game alone. But I don't know. I just think that, there's something about this game that is making me want to talk about it. And I think one of the things is that it's my frustration with the fact that a lot of people are just flacking for this game. There's people that have bought this game at full price, like I did, that are like, wow, this game isn't really very good. And it's like, yep, you got lied to. People were bullshitting when they said that this game was, like, solid or good. It's not. It is not a good game. Again, I'm not going to say it's necessarily objectively bad, but it's objectively not a good game. There's so much about it that is terrible that I don't see what you could say is in any way redeeming about it. Like, what are the qualities of this game that are so positive that makes it good? What are they? Spell them out. Like, I don't see it. But anyways, I don't really need to repeat myself too much about it. I'll leave it there for now. Hopefully, I can finish this game. And I'll have more to talk about in the near future. Thanks for listening.